Emma Cottrell's poem, Rasho Crane, was featured in the summer 2011 issue of Georgia Backroads and in the fourth program we posted on YouTube earlier this year. Not long after the poem was in the magazine, I asked Emma to consider writing a poem about two Americans, one North, one South, who gave their lives at the Battle of Chickamauga in September 1863. Emma agreed to do so if I gave her a tour of the battlefield. We made that tour in June 2012, accompanied by her daughter Cammie. Emma then authored paired poems about U.S. Brigadier General William H. Lytle and Confederate Sergeant Richard Kirkland. We published the poems under the title Only the Dead Can Speak with Tongues of Fire in the winter 2012 issue of the magazine. Emma's tribute to General Lytle was featured on our YouTube channel a month ago. Here then is the tribute she and her son Raymond wrote for Sergeant Kirkland, covering his legendary bravery at the Battle of Fredericksburg in Virginia and his fate at Chickamauga. The Angel of Mary's Heights, Battle of Fredericksburg. At the foot of Mary's Hill ran a sunken road, and on the side next to the town stood a wall of stone. Behind that fence the Confederates were solidly entrenched, watching, waiting. As the enemy moved ever closer, their ranks in double quickstep, standards fluttering proudly above the thousands of roaring, charging troops of the Army of the Potomac, scornful of their Southern foe, until the rebels opened fire and the wall erupted into the flaming gate of hell. Under deadly attack, front, right, and left, the Federals still pressed forward, resolute and bold, quick to close their broken lines as shells burst around them and solid shot cut through. 6 times they made angry, desperate charges, but never could they breach that stubborn rebel line. When at night the battle ended, the bodies of 8,000 men in blue lay piled 3 deep across the shattered plain above the Rappahannock. Richard Kirkland felt no elation when at dawn he viewed the carnage on the battlefield below. He could hear the cries of dying men begging piteously for water to stay the awful thirst that comes as life's blood flows slowly back to earth. Though they were the Union enemy and he a Southern boy, he felt a clarion call to aid them. He turned to find his general. "Sir, the agony of those dying men I simply cannot take. May I go and give them water, help relieve their pain?" The South Carolina general stared, incredulous. "Sergeant, you must know if you step beyond this wall you will instantly be dead. They'll shoot you bloody blind before you start your insane task. I cannot give permission to do this thing you ask." Kirkland respectfully persisted. "Let me take a flag of truce." "No, I can spare no one to help." The sergeant stood straighter. "Please, sir, I'll take my chances. This is something I must do." Nonplussed, the weary general reluctantly replied, "I ought not to allow it, son, but if you must, then go." With a quick salute, the sergeant did not hesitate, but hurried back to gather all the canteens he could take, a ragged blanket, a tattered coat, warmth of any means for a cold and shivering soldier on that deadly crimson field. Through a shower of bullets he made a daring run, safely reached the nearest wounded, knelt down and took his hand. "I am here to help you," the rebel quietly spoke. The Yankees waited, tense, clutching their rifles but holding fire. When Kirkland's purpose became apparent, the armies on both sides broke out in applause as the lone soldier labored back and forth on that cold December day, bringing to each suffering man a breath of hope, a caring touch, a fresh canteen of water, before moving on to aid another and another. Later, when asked why, his reply remained the same. "'Twas nothing but my duty," was all he ever claimed. Battle of Chickamauga, 9 months later. From Fredericksburg to Chancellorsville and on to Gettysburg, death walked impartially beside him, echoed his footsteps all the way. But at Chickamauga, on a bloody knoll, death turned and touched the shoulder of the legend of Mary's Hill, a man of courage until the end. His last words proved his mettle, his true concern for others. "Save yourselves, men, and tell my pa that I died right." Epilogue. Richard Roland Kirkland sought no fame, had no words while living to say what was in his heart. Only the dead can speak with tongues of fire, and on the field where he fell at Chickamauga his presence still rides the changing winds, free at last to shout the words that formed the code by which he lived and died. I was a man before I was a soldier. A soldier can be no more than the man. If God allows me to see the day that I may strip off this coat, I want to see the man I was before so that I may be welcomed at my Father's door. Thank you for watching.